Дурут салам. Как вы поживаете? Мне очень хорошо, ну хорошо. Let's talk a little bit about Petr Yan versus Corey Sandhagen. I didn't know this guy, Corey Sandhagen. I had to look him up, and he's a good striker. And if he was fighting somebody other than Petr Yan, I would tell you the things that I'm impressed with. But this is a fucking mismatch. This is a mismatch. And it is a deceptive mismatch. It doesn't look like a mismatch because Corey Sandhagen got a good kick package. He kicks, recoils back. He can attack. He's got long arms that he can throw out of anywhere, which means that he can do a lot of distance control and he can really get out of bad situations if he was fighting somebody that wasn't Petr Yan. Here's the thing. Let me sit down on my little thing. Okay. So the biggest tell and the biggest problem that I saw with Corey Sandheim is against people that have elite takedown and elite compact games like Petr Yan. Petr Yan, if Wikipedia is correct, is a master of sport in boxing and is a master of sport in some sort of MMA discipline. He's a double master of sport. Well, obviously, when you watch him, he's got some sort of sambo or judo training just based on the trips. Just based on the trips and the top control and the sweeps and all that. Because, if he did a lot of things with his hips, high guard, then I would be like, oh, well, maybe it's Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu or whatever. He doesn't play guard at all. He's not trying to go to guard. He's trying to get back to his feet. He's trying to sweep, change. Real judo looking, real wrestling looking, Soviet wrestling looking package, which would make me think that he's got some sambo training or he indeed's a master of sport in sambo. And that's what a master of sport in MMA means. I've never heard of a Russian master of sport of MMA, so maybe Wikipedia means he's a master of sport in sambo. Master sport de sambo. Okay. So the problem that Corey has is that he, on a lot of his big shots, there is a recoil and a drive, which is a split second. That's not really it's not the cocking that he does on some of his bigger shots that worries me. Although he's got a really fluid game too, which makes me think that he's not like, he doesn't need to cock back to give a good one. It's more of a timing, and he probably only does that when he sees somebody on the ropes or whatever and just wants to really put a little bit of extra on it. So I'm not worried about that. But what I am worried about is the slight off balance recoil. You will look at his strikes, he goes in, and then there's a slight off balance and a recoil. In his kicks, there's a slight off balancing and a recoil, which isn't a huge deal unless you're fighting somebody who can get in very quickly and has a great demonstration of how to use balance, kazushi, all those type of things to shoot quickly. And Petr Yan catches kicks and goes in for a single leg morotegari. And if he does morotegari and he's doing trips, he's trying to trip people off the cage and things like that. So this tells me he's got a judo package. He's got a judo package, or he's got a sambo package that is the equivalent of high-level judo. Either way, they're kind of interchangeable. I just think sambo, the new perfected Abdul Manap school of sambo, is right now it's the elite grappling sport, the elite fighting style at the moment. There will be some judoka that comes, and judo will be popular for a minute, and then the Brazilians they'll fix their game or tweak their game, and they'll have a couple of champions, and then Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu will be, then the striking arts, maybe the Muay Thai guy, so on and so forth. The Australians are trying to make the striking arts the premier package right now, and they're doing a pretty good job. Wow. Just a shout out to Whitaker, Adesanya, Volkanovski. Kudos, bro. when I get one wrong, you have done way, 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 way right. And shout out to the champ, Volkanovski. Good for you, man. And so on and so forth. But Petr Yan can strike with anybody. Anybody. If this was just boxing, I'd put him in the ring with Khamzat Chimaev. Israel Adesanya. Just boxing. Length is not going to bother him. He's going to get in, work the elbows, and then and his footwork is great. He does cross steps and scissor steps. He also does great boxing footwork. He can work straight-legged, standing on his chopsticks, which if you can see someone that could just throw straight-legged, that means that they have mastered. The guy has already submitted, and he's just sitting there just, really trying to drive up from the toes, just working him like a heavy bag. It's very impressive when you can see someone do that in a real fight. Like it's hard enough for me to do 3 minutes on the heavy bag up on the chopsticks, just working relaxed, versus somebody who is fighting a grown man who does not want to be hit and has equivalent training and is also a monster in the cage. So no disrespect to Corey Sandhagen. This is just another, meal for Petr Yan. With that said, does Corey Sandhagen have an avenue to victory? Yeah, very small. Very small. He has got to catch Petr Yan on the button very early. I mean, early. He has got the first minute of the fight, he's got to concuss him a little bit. Got to get him woozy a little bit. Got to get those legs, a little bit. Not cool. Tell you what, man, if I was the same height and weight of Petr Yan and I had to fight him, the very first thing I'm trying to do is go to the clinch, wrap him up, and then work to the ground and take his back. This is the only thing I'm thinking about. I'm just trying to protect my head, roll around and take the back, and then try to have him work out of some sort of back control all day long. I'll go to high guard if I have to. I wouldn't mind playing Petr Yan out of guard, although he's great in the top game and I'm sure he can pass guard. That's not the thing. I want to tie him up and just make him work and get him tired. And then we can go do other things. But I can't. And if I'm working in guard, every time he tries to pass, I can wrap up arms. I can wrap up arms and rockabye and sweep and then go on top and, ground and pound. Do I think that Corey Sandhagen has got that kind of elite sweep package or guard play? I mean, it would take someone like Charles Oliveira. It would take a Brian Ortega type of master of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. The guys that are on the next level of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, it would take that kind of guard play to wear out and frustrate Petr Yan. And then it would also take you would need like an Islam Makhachev ability to get in, to close the distance, and to suffocate. And Corey Sandhagen, he looks like he's got some ground skills. It looks like he's got a pretty good striking package. But master of sport and boxing, guys, to get a master of sport in Russia, you have to have been at a black belt level for a while, which means that you got to start when you're a kid. You need, as soon as you're getting fur on your peaches, as soon as your grapes ripen, you need to be at a black belt level. Like I'm talking about, you need to be a black belt level 14, 15 years old, and then start working for your master of sport as soon as you can, you know. And that means that you're near elite at boxing at, 15, 16, 18, whatever. He's about 25 now. And they awarded him master of sport in boxing. And that's pretty young. That is pretty young. And then if he's got a master of sport in Sambo as well. Corey Sandhagen with his good, really good striking package and whatever it is in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, it's not good enough. It's not impressive. You need like I cannot express this. You need like Machado, just levels of Marcelo level of, guard, high guard, Eddie Bravo rubber guard, plus a massive sweep package, great trips, need to be able to do a no-gi, tie a tosh, that type of thing. You have to immediately be tying up limbs. But all night is going to be a game of he's got to fight his way out of armbar, out of udegarami, out of shimiwaza. The whole night, that's the only way to beat Petr Yan is make him all night long fighting out of a submission package. And the only way to do that is if you have next level guard play or you have master of sport and Sambo top play. Okay? And these guys in the UFC, so here's the deal. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu came on, and it was the greatest fighting style, in the 90s, whatever. If you knew how to do that, you had a mastery of no-gi. And if you had a wrestling background and then you did Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, you had an even bigger mastery of no-gi. Then those guys started adding striking. So it was upstairs and downstairs play, okay? Where a master of sport and Sambo kind of overtook that is the black belt in judo means now I have a next level ability to screw your balance up. Judo, essentially all it is getting someone off balance and putting them where you want them. Okay? And if you can wrap a wrist or if you can get a half Nelson, you can do most any judo throw. I'm not going to be clean, but you can go a wrist, a half Nelson, Tatosh. You can go wrist, half Nelson, Uchimata. You can go wrist, half Nelson, Hanegoshi, Ogoshi. Let's just go down the list of the most popular and effective throws. And then that's not even talking about the Tanagoshi and Sutemiwaza, the suicide throws that you can get off of that. If I can have a one underhook and a wrist, I can do a whole lot of stuff. Even Yoko, even Tomonage, Yoko Tomonage. And I don't even need to do the full throw. I could just get a wrist, and just because I know the basic kazush, whether it's an otoshi, guruma, or whatever it takes to do the fallings, which would be more of otoshi. But I guess an otoshi would be what you need for most sutemiwaza. But still, what I'm saying is just knowing that I could put you off balance just a little bit to put your head in a place where I can knock you out. And I've talked on and on and on. I get on this thing and I blah, 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 blah. All the time about Sambo topside versus Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu bottom side. Okay, here's the thing that makes both of those statements go away. It's when you can knock someone out before they get to you. It doesn't matter what your grappling style is if you're knocked out before you can walk down the hallway and get to them. So, Petr Yan is great at it, and Russia has said you're a master of sport and boxing. Not even boxing, it doesn't matter, but if you can get a master of sport from Russia and striking, you are amazing. And I can see with my eyeballs that Petr Yan has got a great concept, if not a black belt or a black belt equivalent in judo. He knows the kazushi. He knows kazushi, tsukuri, and kake. He knows the principles of throwing, which would lead me to believe, one more time, I'm talking a big O circle about, I think he's got a lot of sambo training and he's good at it. And the bottom line is Corey Sandhagen, the fact that he gets off balance for a split second, either throwing the punch or recoiling from the throw, or throwing the kick or recoiling from the kick. His migiri, right? Migiri is the kick. If I'm using my Temiwaza, whatever. Anyway, yeah, he's slightly got to be off balance, and Petr Yan is going to off balance him further and put him on the ground and beat on him. And he can trap. He knows how to, whether it's a crucifix style pin. His pins, he is great at pinning and having an arm free or having another two arms free to fight. And I have a feeling he's gonna control one wrist and just go in there and flip him, grab the other wrist, beat. Play right hand, left hand, and just really put just kind of a vicious beat down on Sandhagen. And part of me kind of wants to see Sandhagen just do something. Part of me wants to just see him like on right off the whistle, fight, Hajime! And just lay just a beautiful kick just to the head. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think he's going to come in and he commits. Corey Sandhagen, he commits foolishly. He puts all of his weight on one foot, puts all of his weight on another foot. It reminded me of watching someone ice skate. Like he's and Petr Yan is just he's gonna walk up and he's like, "Это Pedraца. Давай сюда. Спокойной ночи. Спокойной ночи. Поздравляй." All right, Khordafis. Here's me rambling for about 17 minutes on why I think Petr Yan is just going to beat the brakes. Corey Sandhagen might not be the same ever again after this fight. Petr Yan's going to beat him. His movements are, and Sandhagen's movements are. You tell me. Go watch Corey Sandhagen. I didn't even bother to learn his name. I just saw him. I'm like, all right. Maybe he needs to go back in the oven a little bit and come back a little bit more risen. A little bit. I don't think the dough is all the way cooked for Corey Sandhagen. So, yeah, hands down, if I haven't made it clear, Petr Yan. And I think it's because he understands balance and he understands that his striking is always on balance. He always hits a ton, and he never has to rebalance for Petr Yan. And the basic deal is that everything that Corey Sandhagen does has got to rebalance. There's a nanosecond. Everything he does has to get rebalanced. That's it. That's what I think. So, Khordafis. Ну, пока. До свидания. Мы друзьями. До свидания.